Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 8 of What If Naruto was the reincarnation of Barrigan. If you guys enjoy this what if, and want to see part 9 of it, comment down below, and let me know. The like goal for this video is 200 likes. So like this video, to let me know that you're interested in this series, and you want the next part. Check out my new videos of My Hero Academia what ifs in my second channel, and give it some love as well. Link is in the description. I have created a playlist for this what if, where you can find all the previous parts, link is in the description. Then go ahead, and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. It had been 2 days since Gen and Team 7 made it to Tazuna's house. 2 long days for Yuhi Kurenai, who had to keep her disguise around the client's home, fooling the old drunk for a bridge builder, his daughter, and breeding emo for a grandson. The rest of Team 7 had a meeting later on not far from the house, but clearly seeable should any kind of problem arise, and it was in this moment that Kurenai revealed herself to them. Neither Genin were surprised when she did. I take it, she knows what awaits her when we get back to Konoha, questioned Naruto with his eyes never leaving Kurenai's own. Oh, she knows. She'll only reveal herself should push come to shove on this mission, but I don't think that will happen, unless things get nasty. They still might, so I expect Kurenai to bring everything she's got into completing this mission regardless of the set difficulty level, answered Anko with Kurenai grimacing slightly, since she knew what awaited her in Konoha, and it was not going to be pleasant. Good. Zabuza we have detailed information on, but his LOL subordinate is a mystery to us, and that could be a problem in the future, if we're not careful, replied Naruto with the others in the group nodding since there was no mention in the bingo book about Zabuza having anyone outside of the Demon Brothers working for him. Agreed. Kurenai and I will watch over the client. You two should continue training as usual, but don't let your guard down, and watch out for any possible threats aimed at this house. Zabuza may be out of commission for a little while, but his subordinate is not, and there are still Gato's army of thugs he might send here once his patience has snapped, said Anko with Shino and Naruto nodding. I just wish Tazuna's grandson for a brat would stop breeding and sulking like his whole world is the worst one in existence, said Naruto at last, since Inari had done just it the whole time. Losing one's surrogate father before your eyes isn't exactly pleasant, Naruto-san. All he has left are his parents, and the country itself is suffocating around him, stated Shino, as he saw Naruto grip his cane tighter and give the Aburame a cold yet burning look. He still has his mother. He still has his grandfather. He has their love. And what does that brat do? He sulks, brutes, and spits on the memory of the man that stood up against Gato and died for it. Rather than find a way to get stronger to honor the man, Inari cries like a baby and does nothing. It's high time he and the rest of this country stand up to Gato. By the time this mission is over, this village will believe in heroes again. I promise you that much will happen, stated Naruto before walking away from the group to train. Inari better not do something stupid to piss Naruto off. It would end well, remarked Anko before she motioned Kurenai to follow, while Shino stared at Naruto for a moment while thinking things over in his mind. With Zabuza and Haku, I was wondering why you had yet to succeed in killing the bridge builder, and now I do know. You failed Zabuza. Against a full-grown woman and her 3 brats for students no less. I'm paying you to kill an old man and his pathetic bodyguard detail, who I doubt were paid much given how poor he was when first leaving this cesspool of a country. All you had to do at the very least was terrify his protection detail enough to flee, kill the old man, and be done with it. Instead, you lost the Demon Brothers, are now injured, and the bridge builder is trying to finish his bridge. How can you explain yourself for this failure, Zabuza? Demanded Gato while glaring at the bandaged-faced and bedridden man in front of him. The woman was once Orochimaru of the Sanin's former apprentice. Someone like that isn't a pushover. As for the 3 Genin with her, they are strong. Stronger than Genin should be at that age. The red-haired brat who caught the blade of my sword with his bare hand, and then threw it away from the group, is no doubt the strongest of them all. There is something about him that makes him unusually different when compared to the others with him, answered Zabuza while Gato sneered. Bah! You got sloppy and arrogant from doing this kind of thing for too long. You want to get paid. Heal your injuries and finish the job I hired you for, Zabuza. No more screw-ups, and no more excuses, or else. Exclaimed Gato before leaving with his 2 guards, while Haku watched them go with cautious yet calculating eyes. What a bag of hot air, remarked Zabuza with Haku smiling at him. You should be healed by the end of the week, Zabuza-sama. Provided you don't strain yourself further, replied Haku while seeing Zabuza smirk behind his bandages. I won't push myself too hard, Haku. I want a rematch with that red-haired Namikaze kid that might also be an Uzumaki too, answered Zabuza with Haku nodding. He's dangerous. I sense power behind him. Incredible and frightening power, said Haku worriedly with Zabuza nodding. Did you follow up on the rumors springing up within Konoha regarding the Gaki, asked Zabuza with Haku nodding. Yes. It appears that the rumors being whispered of the former Shodaime Hokage and his wife returning from the dead are in fact true. Iowa has been buzzing with movement and Kumo has been rumbling as well. Well, no doubt once the former Hokage dead, well the other wishes to study them to duplicate the process that made it happen, answered Haku while Zabuza frowned at this news. And the boy himself? What's his story? Asked Zabuza with Haku's eyes becoming a bit distant. He was once the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Rumor has it that the boy did something a few months ago and summoned an entity to kill the Biju sealed within him, answered Haku with Zabuza snorting. The Biju can't die, Haku. If that were true, then this world wouldn't have been able to create a third generation Jinchuriki. What else? Replied Zabuza with Haku still having that sad look from moments ago. He was hated by nearly all of Konoha. If the rumors are true, the boy was attacked and hurt repeatedly by the village. Both shinobi and civilians have tried to murder him on multiple occasions, answered Haku with Zabuza frowning. They didn't know he was the son of the Shodaime Hokage, questioned Zabuza with Haku shrugging. Some apparently knew of his heritage, but they still didn't care and hid the truth from everyone else, while his Jinchuriki's status was known to all the adults, answered Haku while Zabuza scoffed slightly. You thought that was a good idea, asked Zabuza with Haku smirking. The Shodaime Hokage. The now twice retired Shodaime Hokage, answered Haku while Zabuza just couldn't believe the old man's stupidity. I see. Regardless of his past or present status, I don't intend to lose a second time to the Gaki. When the fight happens on the bridge, you will take down the Burame and the pink-haired eyesore. The woman and the red-haired brat are mine to kill. Ordered Zabuza with Haku nodding at his order. Understood, Zabuza-sama. In the meantime, you need to get some rest, while I gather the necessary herbs tomorrow morning, in order to speed up your recovery, answered Haku before heading for the door. Tazuna's house, that night. Dinner with Tazuna's family was a quiet one at the moment. Kurenai, who was currently in her disguise as Sakura, was being polite and helping Tsunami in the kitchen. Anko was going over the schedule with the other two genin on who would guard Tazuna, and for how long until the next rotation. At the same time, Inari was glaring at the group like he had since their arrival, as if they were the source of the family's problems, and wanted them gone. Okay. Tomorrow, Shino will watch over Tazuna during the morning watch, and Naruto will take over into the afternoon. Sakura and I will watch over the rest of the family until later on at night, when we are all here. My snake summons have been guarding the house at night with no problems so far, but that doesn't mean everyone here gets to sleep in, and be lazy in thinking this house is impenetrable. So sleep lightly, or with one eye open from here on out, because these next few days are when we should be the most alert, stated Anko while eating her meal with her genin nodding. Why do you even bother trying? Asked Inari with the group looking at him. Why do you even bother asking? Countered Naruto with the child's eyes glaring at him directly now. Because Gato is invincible. He's too strong. You can't beat him, exclaimed Inari, and the group of shinobi looked at each other, before shaking their heads. Gato is just a figurehead. His so-called power is the money he pays thugs to do the dirty work for him. Take away the money, you take away his power, and his army of thugs the man has hired to harass the people here in this country, replied Naruto with his team in full agreement with him on the matter. What do you know? You're just a visitor. You've seen a few days of what everyone has to go through. You don't know what it means to suffer, exclaimed Inari with tears in his eyes, and glaring at the red-haired boy. And his words were the worst thing you could say to Naruto. I don't know what it means to suffer. Did I hear you correctly? Did he seriously just say that to me? To my face? Questioned Naruto with Anko groaning, knowing what Inari just said was the worst thing to say to the redhead, and Shino shifting a little in his seat with a sense of unease behind his large coat. Even Kurenai behind her Sakura disguise tensed while watching from the kitchen. So what if I did? Challenged Inari before he was grabbed from his seat by the collar of his shirt by Naruto, and lifted off of his chair to stare right in the red-haired boy's face. Look into my eyes, boy. Take a good, long look into these eyes. These eyes have seen and experienced more hardship, more pain, more anguish, horror, and betrayal than you could ever hope to know in 1,000 lifetimes. By the time I was at your age, I've been beaten, stabbed, burned, poisoned, nearly had all my bones broken, and starved for food with what little I could get, being so rotten a hungry rat wouldn't eat it. The leader of the village, who I trusted to watch over me, was a liar, a cheat, and he betrayed me on many levels. My parents, who sacrificed their lives for me, were loved, honored, and praised for their sacrifice. As for me, I was hated because of it. My own godfather betrayed me. My godmother was lied to in order to get her away from Konoha, so she couldn't raise me like my parents wanted. You couldn't last 2 weeks in my shoes growing up, boy, and I've had to endure crap from my own village since I was born up until a few months ago. Live my life year 1 through 12 without killing yourself like I've tried to do in the past, and then come see me about suffering. Until then, keep your head down, and your mouth shut when it comes to talking about suffering, because in the end, it is you who knows nothing of suffering. exclaimed Naruto before tossing the boy into Kurenai, who barely caught the boy, and then Emikaze himself decided to leave the house in the possible chance he used his spiritual pressure to kill everyone around him. Did that really happen to him? Was it all true? Asked Tsunami with Anko nodding. Every word of what Naruto said was true. Back in Konoha, Naruto was the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Kitsune, and the strongest of all the 9 legendary Biju. Jinchuriki hold the Biju they have sealed inside their body, even have the ability to access the Biju's power, and are used mostly as weapons of war. Ironically enough, the people that hate Jinchuriki are also the ones that make them, and use them as deterrents of war, when they aren't used in them. In the last 3 Shinobi Wars, Konoha hasn't used its previous Jinchurikis, who preceded Naruto, and Konoha in the past as a whole was never made aware of who the chosen Jinchuriki was due to the mistreatment they would receive as a result. However, recently events have drastically changed Naruto's position in life, and now he's no longer Konoha's punching bag, answered Anko and looked sadly into her drink. So he was essentially alone. The whole time, questioned Suzuno with Anko nodding. For the most part, some shinobi who didn't hate Naruto have been able to intervene on a few occasions when the beatings got really bad, but they were so few and far in terms of the times he was saved. You have to understand why Naruto is upset at your grandson for his words. Inari, you talk about suffering like everything here is the absolute worst, and no one else's life can compare to it. You have your grandfather, your mother, and even a surrogate father figure for a time to look up to while growing up. Naruto didn't have any of that growing up or the love that comes with it. You think your life is bad, kid? Naruto's was 1,000 times worse, answered Anko with Inari looking at her in shock, and so was the rest of his family. Damn. I knew when I saw those eyes of his that the Gaki had it bad, but to know just how bad is something else, replied Suzuno while running a hand through his receding hairline. I'm actually surprised this house is still standing with all of us still alive, Suzuno. Naruto showed a considerable amount of restraint towards your grandson. With the power he wields, plus his mood the Gaki here put him in, we should all be dead, and this entire country along with us, remarked Anko with the family around her, even Kurenai, and Shino looked surprised by that. He's really that strong, asked Inari with Anko looking the boy dead in the eye. Trust me, kid. That Gaki has the power to do things that would give you nightmares beyond Gato. Beyond anything you have ever seen or known. Konoha is only standing because of a handful of people in our shinobi village, and I mean that in a literal sense, answered Anko with Shino nodding in agreement at that last part. Shit, whispered Tazuna to himself, before letting out a sigh. With Naruto, if Naruto were a normal boy, still training to be a strong shinobi like he had long since desired in life, the area around him would be destroyed, and the terrain would be altered considerably. However, his fusion with Barragan, the ancient Hollow King's knowledge, and the Red Head's own consideration for the people living in this country, were the only things preventing him from unleashing his power. Naruto knew that doing that would result in this country being destroyed in an instant, its people dead, the animals dead, and just about everything else would die. In short, Naruto had come to this place to be alone, reflect on his anger, and once more remind himself of what would happen if he unleashed his power. His power controlled life and death. Such power was literally in the palm of his hand to take life, and make it rot away, if he wished it. Granted, the power to do the opposite was there too, but Naruto felt such power could not be used when angry, and wasn't about to try just yet. So with a great amount of restraint, Naruto walked over to a tree, and sat down in front of it. His energy sparking like electricity on occasion to show just how much restraint was being made on Naruto's part to not blow everything up, and closed his eyes to get some needed sleep. When morning came, Naruto sensed someone was nearby, his mind never fully asleep, as he had learned to do when growing up, and secretly monitored the figure heading in his direction while faking sleep. The red-haired Namikaze knew who this person was, as he had sensed this same chakra signature before, and continued to monitor this person with a certain bit of interest. What was Ibuza's subordinate doing here? Was it for spying on the house? Assassination maybe? Naruto's interest increased further when the figure was standing right in front of him, and since the fake hunter Nin was tense yet kept calm despite being so close. Curious. Even more when he heard the sound of clothing move, his enemy kneeling, pausing for a few seconds, and contemplating on what to do next. Naruto waited, his body never moving, as he felt a hand moving closer, reaching for his neck, to grab, strangle, or maybe even snap it. Which one? Surprisingly, the hand didn't reach for his neck like Naruto thought, but rather went to his shoulder, gently touching it, and shaking him gently. You'll catch cold if you sleep here, came the soft soothing worried female voice in front of him. There are far worse things in this world to be concerned about than that of a simple cold, my dear, Naruto calmly countered, while staring at the girl wearing a simple kimono. That's true. Especially given your profession, replied the girl with a smile. Profession? Questioned Naruto with the girl looking at him with a raised eyebrow. You are a shinobi, correct? The headband is a clear giveaway, answered the girl with Naruto smirking at her, and mentally congratulated his enemy for using such a key detail to cover up the fact he never mentioned his occupation. True enough. What about? What is your occupation? Asked Naruto before standing, and the girl did the same. I don't have one, though I do have a certain skill in the medicinal arts. Hence why I am here searching for healing herbs for a special someone, answered the girl with Naruto raising his eyebrow now. I see. Your friend must be in considerable pain to venture here alone during these dark times of this country being oppressed. I am Deathly Uzumaki Naruto. What is your name? Asked Naruto with the girl pausing for a second. Haku. It's Haku, answered the girl with Naruto nodding. That's a lovely name, replied Naruto with Haku nodding. You're welcome, Naruto-san. If you will excuse me, I need to go collect some herbs before the local wildlife feeds them, was Haku's response, before she began walking away. And ruins your chance to properly heal Momochi Zabuza, questioned Naruto with Haku stopping, her body going tense, and quickly formed senbone needles made of ice after quickly using her bloodline to manipulate the morning dew on the grass, to bend to her command. How did you know? Whispered Haku in a deathly voice. Your chakra signature, my dear. You can change your appearance, your hair, eye color, and facial features all you want. But a chakra signature is unmistakable, no matter what you do to yourself. Your chakra signature is the same one I encountered with my team when fighting Zabuza, and even your voice sounds similar despite how muffled it was behind the Mist Hunter Nin mask you wore. That was a very clever and deceptive plan you created to successfully escape with Zabuza, when he bites off more than he can chew when losing a fight. I commend you for it, answered Naruto with Haku throwing the senbone needles in her hand at him, but the red hat catches them easily, and then breaks them a second later. What now? Are you going to capture me? Interrogate me? Kill me? Questioned Haku, as she would tell him nothing, and would give her life to protect Zabuza. Nothing. Go about your business like it was a normal day for you, my dear, answered Naruto with Haku frowning at him. That's it. You're not going to try anything? Asked Haku while wondering if this was some kind of trick or trap. No? You are not ready for a fight with me or my team. Neither is Zabuza. He'll be healed by the end of week, won't he? Questioned Naruto with Haku nodding. Yes, answered Haku with Naruto smiling. Excellent. Make sure he is 100% when the time comes for us to fight on the bridge. I will not have my victory over him remotely tainted by the fact he wasn't a peak performance, replied Naruto, as he began to walk away, and felt Haku's eyes on him the entire time. Very well. Oh, and for the record, I'm a boy, said Haku with Naruto stopping in mid-step, before turning to face his enemy. One of the things I learned during my time growing up in Konoha, was how to tell when someone is telling me the truth, and when they are lying. Well, you are a skilled liar. I can tell you are in fact a girl, and I understand why you lied to me about it, countered Naruto with Haku stiffening at being called out on her lie. You won't stop Zabuza-sama. He will kill the bridge builder. I will make sure of it, stated Haku with conviction in her voice. I have no doubt you will try, my dear. I look forward to seeing just how far you will go to ensure victory for him, replied Naruto before he walked away from her. Team 7, sometime later. So you encountered the fake Mist Hunter Nin, and gathered some valuable intel from her too. Not bad, Gaki. You're a regular lady killer, said Anko with a smirk on her face while Kurenai, under her illusion, scowled at the idea of Naruto flirting with the girl that was their enemy's subordinate. Shino was silent. It's not like that. She's very protective of Zabuza on a fanatical level. We'll have to be cautious when fighting her. If given the chance, I have no doubt Haku will throw her life away to save Zabuza, or give him an opening to kill Tazuna, replied Naruto since he saw those eyes, and knew that Haku had that kind of devotion to the demon of the bloody mist. That kind of devotion at level in a shinobi is rare, but not unheard of, and should not be taken lightly when fighting one. It is said they fight like they are possessed by 100 warriors, moving faster, and hitting harder than a normal human being. They have the ability to push themselves to the brink when enraged, and can kill hundreds of people in their path, replied Shino with Naruto nodding in agreement. All the more reason to not let down your guard around her. Battles have been lost when one side with victory within their grasp underestimates the opposition when in a fight, replied Naruto with Kurenai still scowling at him. And I suppose this girl interests you, questioned Kurenai while Naruto scowled back at her. My only interest I possibly have regarding Haku is the water manipulating ability I saw for a brief moment, and how to ensure she doesn't kill Tazuna or make a move that could allow Zabuza to do it, answered Naruto in a cold tone that told Kurenai to watch her mouth. Good. Because I will not have you break Hinata's heart by taking interest in an enemy Kunoichi over her in the event you wish to capture her for the harem Barrigan help negotiated for you on your behalf, countered Kurenai with Anko letting out a sigh at this point. Kurenai, he's got an arranged marriage with Inoichi's girl, and Sume's eldest, so you can't say Naruto is going to be unfaithful to Hinata. Besides, he's still getting to know each one, and if he somehow captures this Kunoichi for that reason is entirely up to him, said Anko with Kurenai glaring at her. You sound like you almost support such an idea, Anko, accused Kurenai with Anko shrugging at her. Hey. It happens, Kurenai. How many Kunoichi has Konoha captured during the 3 shinobi wars for the simple purpose of having bloodlines thrive, and make the power of the leaf grow? The other villages have done it too. Major and minor. Don't act like this is new to you, Kurenai. Your fake nativity doesn't suit you, answered Anko with Shino raising an eyebrow upon hearing this. So capturing enemy kunoichi to one day, impregnate them is a standard practice for all shinobi villages. This wasn't exactly covered during my second time going through the academy, stated Shino while Kurenai glared at Anko for revealing that information to the two genin. Not surprising. It's not exactly public knowledge and it's supposed to be known to Chunin or higher in level shinobi. Genin are allowed to be told by their Jonin sensei if they by chance have a situation where they capture an enemy kunoichi, but that's an extremely rare thing and happens once in a blue moon. We don't tell academy students because it makes the heads of the boys think perverted things, risks their own sense of morality, and our potential clients possibly hearing about it from children kind of has them seek out shinobi from another villages, answered Anko with Shino nodding, while Naruto had a slightly far away look on his face. Kumo tried that with my mother, and would have succeeded, if not for my father's timely intervention, stated Naruto while the grip on his cane tightened noticeably. Then think about that, before giving into the perverted idea of capturing this kunoichi for the sick purpose of making her your sex slave, remarked Kurenai before she sent to the floor by an incredible amount of spiritual pressure from Naruto with the others struggling to stand due to the majority of it focusing on the disguised kunoichi. You have a lot of nerve saying that to me, you insect. You insult my honor. You insult my family on both sides, by slandering me in the belief I would do that to kunoichi, because I'm male, and all males to you are perverted pigs that ogle women any chance they get. Exclaimed Naruto while leaning down and grabbing the scared woman's face by the jaw, so she could look him dead in the eyes. I'd let him ogle me, in a few years, thought Anko, as she was surprisingly turned on by the idea of being looked at by Naruto in such a lustful manner, and being taken by such a powerful being. Even if I did capture Haku during this mission, I would not treat her as you have rudely claimed I would, but rather see to it that she lives life peacefully under the protection of my clan, and I will see to it that anyone that makes the girl's life miserable while under my care answers to me, said Naruto before he let go of Kurenai's face, and lifted the spiritual pressure off of everyone. In any case, we know Zabuza is recovering, this girl is healing him, and in a few days' time we fight them both with the future of this country at stake. No pressure, replied Anko with Naruto nodding with Shino doing the same. Kurenai weakly nodded, before wiping the sweat off her face. We'll be ready. Though I think Kurenai should stay behind under her disguise to watch over the family when the battle occurs, stated Naruto with Kurenai looking at him in horror at the idea. Why me? Demanded Kurenai with a hint of anger in her voice. Why not? You want to prove useful on this mission for a change. This is your chance to do it. Take it now or else I will send you back home via Garganta and you can explain your actions in coming on this mission to the Hokage sooner than later, answered Naruto with Kurenai going pale in the face, since she knew he would do it, and her career as a shinobi of the leaf would be put in serious jeopardy. Granted it already was, but it would be sooner rather than later. I understand, replied Kurenai in defeat with Anko smirking. Not bad, Naruto-kun. You're natural at taking command, exclaimed Anko cheerfully with Naruto shaking his head. Grandpa Barrigan was much better at it than I am. Besides, this woman isn't worthy of being a servant or slave to my family. She's just too weak in my eyes, replied Naruto before walking away from the shocked woman on the ground. Ouch. Talk about a low blow, Kurenai-chan. Then again, it was deserved for your own pre-verbal hits toward my student. Just count your lucky stars that he didn't decide to age you into an old hag, remarked Anko before she motioned for Shino to follow her. Incomplete bridge. Days later, he showed up, remarked Zabuza with Haku by his side wearing her hunter nin mask. Was there any doubt? Asked Naruto with Zabuza smirking behind his bandages. No? I knew you would show up. Anyone with Uzumaki blood in them doesn't give up or run away. They stand and fight, no matter the odds. Given all the shit I've heard about you, and the look in those blue eyes of yours, life hasn't been fun growing up, replied Zabuza with Naruto narrowing his eyes slightly. No? It wasn't pleasant. Not in the slightest. I can tell it was the same for her too, when we first spoke civilly a few days ago, answered Naruto with Haku tense slightly, since she had done her best to hide that when they spoke. Considering we are both from Water Country and Mist is responsible for the bloodline purges there, remarked Zabuza while glancing over at Haku. So she's not a kunoichi formerly of Mist, questioned Naruto with Zabuza nodding. I found her on the streets. Basically homeless during the cold winter there, though I don't think it affected her too much on account of Haku's unique bloodline. She was only wearing rags for clothing, and eating out of a dumpster, answered Zabuza while he was questioning himself on why he was answering the brat's question. I know what that's like. Digging for scrapes. Trying to stay warm, when there is no place to go, and with so little on hand to survive, replied Naruto while looking directly at Haku now. He's like me. We've suffered for different reasons, but our pain is similar, thought Haku, as she now wished to avoid fighting him, and simply walk away with Zabuza to another job that paid well. But they couldn't. The client wanted the bridge builder dead. Zabuza had taken up the contract hit, and so did she to an extent. It's a shame we had to be on opposite ends of this. I could offer you both a safe place to crash for a while. Maybe even talk to the Hokage about giving you both a chance to be Konoha shinobi. No more running. No more looking over your shoulder for hunter nin from mist that may or may not be pursuing you, said Naruto with Haku's head twitching slightly to stop herself from looking at Zabuza. Yeah. It is a shame. Oh well. So be it. Come on Gaki, bring out that weapon of yours, and let's have ourselves a fight. You too Jonin. Haku, take care of the Burame. Once he's down, take care of the bridge builder, replied Zabuza with Haku nodding. That's pretty bold of you, remarked Anko with Zabuza raising a non-existent eyebrow, while Haku moved to engage Shino near the bridge builder. How so? Questioned Zabuza with Anko smirking. Facing me is a challenge unto itself, but Naruto-kun here is on a whole other level. If you do know his history like I think you do, even the rumors no doubt floating around the elemental countries are what you've heard about him, chances are you know what he can do. And that fighting the two of us together is just plain suicidal, answered Anko with Zabuza looking at her and then Naruto. So? Is that supposed to frighten me? Asked Zabuza with Anko smirking further. It should, but something tells me you don't care, and just want a good fight, even if it is to the death. So here's what's going to happen. You want to fight? Fine. You fight Naruto here. Not the two of us against you. Just him versus you in a fight to the death, offered Anko with Zabuza now thinking her offer over before looking at the red-haired boy. You better give me a good fight Gaki. I don't know whether to believe the rumors Haku heard about you or not. If you don't live up to your hype, I'm going to be pissed off, and take my anger out on your comrades, after I behead you, stated Zabuza with his sword ready, and saw Naruto's cane change into a battle axe. The same goes for you too Zabuza. I honestly felt our last encounter was disappointing to say the least. I honestly expected better from someone who was once a member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. I hope this time you live up to your reputation, countered Naruto with Zabuza growling at him for the jab at his skills. With their words spoken, the two clashed against the other with their weapons, and the sounds of metal clanging against metal was heard. Zabuza's sword hitting the staff part of the battle axe more than the blade part. That was to be expected of course given how Naruto's weapon was designed like that, and the axe part was meant for a long-range kill. Zabuza's choice in a weapon was an all-over range kill, as he even up close, if angled right could severely injure, or kill the intended target. As the two warriors clashed violently against the other, Naruto was barely moving from his position, shifting his feet on occasion every so often, and pushing Zabuza back. As for Zabuza himself, the man was getting frustrated, as he used the hidden mist jutsu to make it difficult to see anything, and made it extra thick, since he didn't have to worry about the jutsu draining his chakra too much, since they were literally surrounded by water. In fact, the one with the greatest advantage at this moment was Haku since her bloodline allowed for the manipulation of water to be turned into ice in any shape she desired, and it wasn't hard for the girl to call upon the vast reservoir below the bridge to be turned into a very dangerous weapon. This brat is good. He doesn't have to go on the offensive due to his strength somehow being greater than mine. All the brat has to do is shift his foot, keep his senses open, and block my attack with his weapon. Even if I make a water clone, something tells me that it wouldn't have the intended effect, and even if I send one to kill the bridge builder I still have to deal with the Jonin no doubt using her own senses to make sure I don't try it, thought Zabuza, as he kept trying to get through Naruto's defense to kill him, but he kept getting caught, his sword strikes were blocked, and pushed back roughly several feet. You're doing far better than last time. Lasting longer too. Your skills are definitely that of a master. I commend you and your sword for withstanding my strength when wielding my Zanpakuto, said Naruto with Zabuza sweating slightly from his various attempts to push against his weapon. You make it sound like my sword should have been destroyed by now, replied Zabuza with Naruto looking at him dead in the eyes. Actually I do think your sword should have been destroyed by now, after taking all that abuse. It means your weapon is not your average sword you swing around just for show and intimidation. Not surprising considering it's a weapon of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist, but even still to withstand the abuse of my Zanpakuto deserves a great deal of praise from me, and I do not hand it out lightly, answered Naruto with Zabuza narrowing his eyes at him through the mist. This goes to show you that the swords from Mist aren't to be taken lightly. Especially mine, exclaimed Zabuza, as he pushed chakra into his feet and moved faster than usual to get through Naruto's defense. And succeed. Zabuza knew that the boy was gauging his speed, acting accordingly to block it, and the demon of the bloody mist knew, in order to get a hit on this kid required, that his speed would have to be faster than expected. To move faster than his opponent was expecting, swing the weapon with all his strength, and injure if not kill the brat with the strike. Unfortunately for Zabuza, his strike while hitting through in terms of hitting Naruto's flesh, it did not slice through the boy like he intended, and was shocked when the brat just looked at him with indifference, before looking down where the blade had struck him just below the shoulder. The clothing was cut into, but the flesh behind it didn't even have a bruise, and yet Naruto himself was internally impressed Zabuza had managed to do even that. Not bad Zabuza. You are indeed a credit to Mist's 7 Swordsman program. You use your chakra to move faster than usual, if only for a moment, in order to do serious damage to me. However, I must confess that one of my powers is to slow time down, and I let your sword hit me. I wanted to see just how effective your weapon would be against my body's arrow, stated Naruto with Zabuza looking at him in shock. You've been toying with me. This whole time you've been holding back your true power against me, exclaimed Zabuza with Naruto just smirking at him. Trust me, Zabuza. If I were to use my full power on you, this entire bridge wouldn't even be standing, and neither would my team, replied Naruto before he frowned and looked off into the distance. You're bluffing, kid. This bridge is massive. No one person has that kind of power to destroy something like this, unless they were a Jinchuriki, and if the rumors are indeed true, you're not one of them anymore, challenged Zabuza with Naruto still frowning. That is true. I am no longer a Jinchuriki, but that doesn't mean I am weak and don't have the power to do what I claim. If anything, I'm stronger than all the Biju put together, and that includes the Kyuubi no Kasune. However, that is another tale for another time, and you should cancel the mist you've set up around this bridge, replied Naruto with Zabuza frowning at him with suspicion. Why? Asked Zabuza with Naruto casually grabbing the blade from Zabuza's sword still against his shoulder, and moved it away like it was nothing. Because we have uninvited guests, answered Naruto before he used Sunido, and was now in the dome of ice mirrors Haku had created to combat Shino with the Burame looking like a pin cushion, while a large quantity of insects being killed by senbone needles pinning them to the ground. Naruto-san, questioned Shino hopefully, while seeing the boy appear before him. This fight ends now, stated Naruto while standing in front of Shino, and being a shield should Haku decide to send another volley his way. I cannot stop. The bridge builder must die, so Zabuza's dream can live. It is nothing personal, Naruto-san. But I must remove you and the Burame, so Zabuza can complete the contract, replied Haku and shot senbone needles at the red-haired boy. Only for them to fall to the ground harmlessly after making contact. There is no need for us to fight anymore, Haku. The contract you and Zabuza had with Gato is no longer valid. Look, countered Naruto, as he looked pointed down the edge of the bridge with Gato standing slightly in front of his army of mercenary thugs. Well, this is disappointing, Zabuza. I was honestly expecting you to deal with this group of shinobi easily given your reputation for being a master at killing people. Turns out you're simply incompetent, and against a child no less. I can see the purple-haired slut, not that far away could be a distraction with the way she dresses, but to be unable to kill the brats she had with her is just sad, and pathetic on so many levels. Not that it really matters, since I'm never going to pay you for the job anyway, commented Gato with Zabuza growling at him. What, you slime? You broke the unwritten rule between client and shinobi, exclaimed Zabuza with Gato waving it off like it was nothing. Rules are made to be broken. Especially by the client holding all the money a shinobi gets paid for doing their job. Besides, it's unwritten, and therefore unenforceable despite how it's been honored since the way of shinobi has been in its infancy. Why should I pay you, when killing you in your weakened state is so much better? I can then collect the bounty on your head and make quite the profit in the process, countered Gato with Zabuza looking like he was ready to explode with rage. There's just one problem with that scenario, Gato, replied Naruto, as he walked over to Zabuza, and smirked at the crooked businessman. Oh? And what exactly is the problem I have regarding my plan? Questioned Gato with a sneer on his face. You are assuming we are all in a weakened state, and all of us will fend for ourselves without uniting for the single purpose of destroying you, answered Naruto before his Zanpakuto turned into a cane, and stomped it hard on the bridge with his power shaking it almost violently. Tazuna made a mental note to make sure the legs of the bridge weren't damaged in the long run of things. Impressive little trick, boy, but we both know you shinobi use illusions, and like to make normal people fear you. You just used those explosive tags and harmless bombs to make us think you made the bridge shake like that, remarked Gato with his thugs going from slightly fearful to smug at his words. An illusion? Is that what you think I just did? If you love that, then you will love this next little trick, where I kill you all in one single shot, replied Naruto, as he raised his hand, his fingers spread out slightly, and purplish energy began to form at the tip of his fingers. And what little shinobi trick can make you do that? I may not know much about how those jutsus are used, but I know enough that there is no such jutsu capable of doing what you are threatening us with, countered Gato with Naruto smirking. You foolish little man. There are jutsus in this world that have the power to bend space and time. There are jutsus that can change entire landscapes from forest to desert in a span of a few seconds. Though what I have in mind is not exactly a jutsu. It's something else in its entirety. Something I've been experimenting with for quite some time, and now I get to test it against all of you pests, replied Naruto with his outstretched hand forming a purple energy and his smile grew. That looks just like the Rasengan. Only it looks like death itself is in it, thought Zabuza while he along with everyone else behind him was getting a good long look at the orb of energy. Among the Espada, who are the strongest of our cars, each has the ability to use this power forming in my hand, called a Seiro, and a special version that was banned within the walls of Las Notches in the lands of Wako Mundo, explained Naruto while the orb solidified perfectly in the outstretched palm. Ha! What the hell are you talking about, brat? There is no such place as Las Noches or Hueco Mundo, barked Gato with Naruto smirking slightly. Don't concern yourself with the names, since they are well beyond your understanding, and from a place beyond your reach. As for Arinkars forming Seiros, some of these Spada had special Seiros unique only to themselves, and each one was potent in their own right. However, my grandfather Barrigan had no such Seiro, which is a shame since it would have been truly a magnificent power to behold, and to be feared because of it. In honor of the former king of Hueco Mundo, I have created this Seiro in his memory, and honor you all with being the first to witness what it can do. Even if most you won't live long enough to tell anyone what this Seiro will do to you, replied Naruto with Gato scoffing. You're bluffing. Don't listen to that punk kid. Kill him, Zabuza, and the brat with shades. Save the women for later. Once my boys return from Tazuna's place with his family, I can have some fun with his daughter, and leave the other girl to the rest of you guys for extra payment for your troubles, commanded Gato with his army of hired thugs smiling at the idea. Fool. You act like some god, when all you really are in this world is a little man hiding behind an army that is paid to fight for you. You throw them away like cannon fodder, because the fewer troops you have, the fewer you have to pay, and take money out of your deep pockets. Know your words have only brought about your death. Now do the world a favor when this Seiro hits you. Rot and die. Seiro or spear, exclaimed Naruto, as he unleashed his Seiro from his hand, and it shot toward the horrified army of thugs charging his way. Those that it hit first were given a quick and merciful death. Those that leaped out of the way were not so lucky. When an Arinkar hull like Amino's Grand for example uses a Seiro, it destroys whatever it hits, burning whatever the beam initially misses, and leaving a path of untold destruction in its wake. Naruto's Seiro, however, it was something else entirely. It was designed to use the power to make things rot and die as a long-range weapon similar to how the Respire was used in a similar form. Only instead of spreading it out like the Respire itself, it was concentrated, compressed, controlled, and when unleashed would make just about anything around the Seiro rot and die. And boy did his targets die. The thugs that managed to somehow dodge the Seiro found their bodies decaying before their eyes, screaming out in pain, as their skin, their flesh, and bones began to dissolve into nothingness. The shinobi behind him watched in shock and horror at the sight of their enemies dying in such a horrible manner. The thugs were pleading for mercy, begging Kami to spare them, even begging Naruto to show mercy and reverse what he had just done to them. Gato him had run to the side of the bridge, somehow managing to dodge the Seiro and not rotting from the after effects of the attack. He watched Naruto looking at him with disgust, and the businessman looks back in fear at what that single Seiro could do. I'll say this only once to you, kid. You scared the living shit out of me, remarked Zabuza with Naruto smirking back at him. Come now, Zabuza, is that any way to thank the person who is handing Gato over to you, and the chance for revenge against the pig that broke the unwritten rule of the shinobi world? Questioned Naruto, as he saw Zabuza frown for a moment, turn to see Gato, and then smile sadistically behind his bandages. You're alright in my book, Gaki, replied Zabuza before leaping over to where Gato was leaning against the railing of the incomplete bridge decaying slightly from where the Seiro was launched. Wait. Show mercy, Zabuza, and I'll pay you 3 times your rate, exclaimed Gato with Zabuza growling at him. Only 3, questioned Zabuza with Gato squirming under his presence. Without his thugs to back him up, Gato was just a pathetic piece of shit that could walk. 5 times your rate, offered Gato with Zabuza leaning down, so he was face to face with the businessman. You can do better than that, countered Zabuza while moving his sword on his shoulder slightly, so the tiny man would take the hint. 8 times the going rate, exclaimed Gato fearfully, while Zabuza thought about it for a moment. Still not high enough. I'll give you one last chance, so you better make it count, replied Zabuza with the shaking businessman going pale in the face. 10 times your going rate. 10 times what was first offered, yelled Gato with Zabuza smirking. Deal, replied Zabuza with Gato looking happy with that. Thank you, Zabuza. You won't regret it, said Gato with Zabuza's smirk increasing behind his bandages, before slicing the man's right arm clean off. You're right about that, replied Zabuza with Gato screaming out in pain. We had a deal. You agreed to show me mercy, exclaimed Gato with Zabuza letting out a cruel laugh. But I am being merciful. Dying by my hands is probably the most merciful thing that could happen to you at this moment. So shut up and die, countered Zabuza before he sliced Gato's head clean off his body with both falling off the bridge into the water below. I wanted more, whined Uncle while she saw Zabuza shrug when he walked over to the group. Then he shouldn't have made such a pricey deal with me, answered Zabuza before he, Naruto, and Uncle laughed at the situation. Well, it cost me a good chunk of the bridge, but considering that the end result is my country no longer being under the rule of a tyrant, I can live with it, remarked Tazuna, as he saw the section of the bridge where Naruto shot the Seiro spear had decayed and fell into the water below. Your people are free from Gato's ring. I don't suppose you know where the piece of human filth was staying, Zabuza, replied Naruto with Zabuza nodding. Yeah, I know where he was living. Nice little fortress he set up for himself. Should have a few people in it guarding the area and waiting for his return. Why, answered Zabuza with the red-haired boy smirking. The man no doubt brought a large chunk of his money to this place in order to pay for his army, which you can take, and anything else of financial value as compensation for your troubles with my team, answered Naruto with Zabuza smirking. Nice. Haku and I will have to go through a few of the guards there, but it's a small price to pay for the pig fucker's money, remarked Zabuza with Naruto nodding. Oh crap. Gato mentioned something about sending some of his thugs after my family, exclaimed Tazuna with Naruto frowned and focused for a moment before smiling. They're alive and unharmed. A little frightened, but relieved to be out of danger, said Naruto with Tazuna letting out a sigh of relief. And our teammate guarding them, asked Shino while making sure his words did not reveal that Kurenai was watching over the client's family instead of Sakura. She's alive too. A little drained, but unharmed as well, answered Naruto with Anko smirking, since she knew Kurenai might be alive now, but that was going to change once they got back to Konoha. Come on Haku. We have a crappy fortress to raid and retrieve what was promised for our services, commanded Zabuza with Haku nodding, but the girl looked at Naruto for a second, and then followed her master. She may have that mask on, but I think that girl has a crush on you Naruto-kun, said Anko in a teasing voice. You're imagining things, countered Naruto with Anko smirking. Am I? Or could it be that your sensei can sense these things, challenged Anko while Naruto smirked at her. Then you should be able to sense yourself, remarked Naruto with Anko blushing a bit at his own teasing. Shut up. You can't talk that way to your Jonin sensei, challenged Anko with Naruto just kept smirking at her. Try and stop me, was Naruto's response, before he used Sunido, and was gone from her sight, while getting the last word. Oh, he is so dead, when I get my hands on him, exclaimed Anko, as she fumed at being teased by Naruto, but also that he got the last word, and laughed over her. Something tells me Naruto has nothing to worry about, thought Shino, as he watched his sensei curse up a storm, while she stomped back to the house, and looked over at Tazuna, to see him sweat drop. You guys may be the best, but all of you are super weird, remarked Tazuna with Shino just nodding, since he couldn't dispute it. You have no idea, was Shino's only response, while they walked back to the house. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, and also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.